What?
What song is that?
Hey guys, so it is week 11. We are now 5 weeks and 4 days out from my first show. I'm actually doing Paul Ravella's show, which is the first week of November here in Tampa. Then I have another show a week after. So things are getting real.
So real, too real. How you feeling?
I'm actually feeling pretty good. I've just had my diet break. We took it a little shorter than previous. So I tried a couple of little strategies this week.
Did you now? Did you happen to run those by a coach?
Who said you're my coach? We're working on this together.
Did you happen to run those by co-coach?
No, I didn't run those by
No. You kind of
Here's my theory, and I talked about this a little bit in one of my posts that I put up this week. Usually what I've been experiencing is on my diet breaks, it takes me about 4 days before I'm kind of feeling good again. And that's just eating at my predicted maintenance. I've still had really difficult training sessions and I'm still incorporating quite a few of my powerlifting lifts in the program. So I'm still squatting, I'm still deadlifting, I'm benching. I'm tired of feeling tired. So I actually took a slightly higher day earlier in the week, yes. So my targets from my diet break were 182 carbs, 54 fats, 160 protein. I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, I decided to have like a 250 gram carb day. So it kind of meant the days after were scaled back a little bit. They weren't really high days anymore.
They were pretty much diet days.
They were pretty much diet days. How do I feel about it? It made me feel great immediately. It was like instant energy, life back in my legs. I can walk up the stairs without holding onto the handrail like I'm 80. And my office is upstairs, so I come down and go up like 100 times, and it's kind of getting to the point where I like take 4 or 5 drinks with me instead of I don't have to come back down.
So this is actually a great discussion about why that is part of the reason that your metabolic rate slows down, because your body decreases your non-exercise adaptive thermogenesis. Part of which is by doing things like that, because it is so difficult and soul-sucking to move.
I'm like putting a couple under my arm, I'm carrying a cup of tea, and I'm like, oh, I better have a lift for later, maybe a Powerade. I felt really good for those couple of days, and then it was like, I just lost it a little bit, yeah. And departed again because I was back on dieting. So I think next time, I do like that. I prefer to be able to kind of feel rejuvenated a little bit quicker. So I would probably go somewhere in the middle for my next diet break, which is 2 weeks away, very sadly. So yeah, I think it's always good to experiment with these kind of things. I probably could have tried this a little earlier in contest prep. However, you don't really know how you're going to feel until you're on low calories.
I think you've never really grinded through a long prep. You've kind of had, your preps have kind of been...
They usually get a lot shorter.
You get kind of to the end, and then you crash diet at the end and do a bunch of cardio.
Yeah.
And you get there and it probably feels like it wasn't that bad because it was short. It has set you up for rebounds in the past that weren't fun.
No.
And also probably not looking your best as you possibly could have on stage.
No. I'm actually very confident about this show that I'm probably going to look the best that I have. Yeah, that's an exciting feeling because I'm just doing so much better.
Obviously we have diet break.
We do.
Here's the thing with diet breaks. We talk about them being at maintenance. There's so little research on diet breaks. That's just the one study.
There'd be 10 studies.
The Matador studies. The Matador study did 2 weeks dieting, 2 weeks of maintenance. Part of being a coach is just trying things. So I'm not upset with her for trying things. I would prefer she talk to me about it first. But I think she really, really wanted that high day, so it was kind of like better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission. So in any case, was it wrong? It's hard to say because there's never
No, it
really
wasn't wrong. I'm glad I did it. I don't care. At least I've tried it now, and I know that for me, that was probably a little bit too high. So I need to find a middle ground. So.
Yeah, your weight spiked up.
Yeah.
And you also, like right after that, you thought you were losing your period. And
oh yeah, so that's something else we can talk about. So on Sunday of last week, I was meant to get my my monthlies, and I didn't get it. I think at that point, my body fat had kind of come down to the point where I'm no longer fertile. I'm not going to have a child at that weight. And then I ate a bunch of food and it was like, hey, we're just gonna give it back to you and just like punch you in the ovaries a little bit for about 5 days, and then it finally, like, I got it again. So I think that reintroduction of calories certainly fueled my period coming back. So it was like a week late because of that. So I guess for me, that's actually a good sign that I am starting to lose body fat, because mine usually goes around probably 10% body fat. Something like that, so.
Even despite, so you had the diet break, you had your period, and you still managed to lose 200 grams.
I did.
And you were pretty darn adherent too.
Yeah.
So, I think I said something about amazing when you're adherent to a diet.
Yeah, I know, when you stick to your targets at work.
Yeah,
yeah, so my average weight this week came in at 65.7. Last week was 65.9. Yeah, that's really, really good news. I've now got 2 full weeks of dieting again. We're gonna go upstairs and punch in a bunch of numbers, and you can see how we do it for my dieting macros this week. And we'll probably talk through why we're going to keep targets the way they are, or maybe make a couple of adjustments. We haven't chatted about that yet, so...
No, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, we've got to...
I must see your data.
Okay, let's go and check out the data, and... Yeah, oh god, I'm gonna die this week. Okay, so Lane and I have just had a little bit of a discussion, and we have effectively 30 days left of dieting.
That's if you take a diet break.
That's if I take another diet break, and I think mentally that helps, knowing that you have something to look forward to. So I think it actually helps with my compliance. But that is, for me personally, that might not necessarily work for everybody else. We're going to do a 6 and 1 this week.
But your one high day really isn't a high day.
My high day is not really a high day. It's still going to be very aggressive. But I still need to lose 3.7 kilos between now and the first show that I'm doing. So I'm estimating that I need to come in about 62 kilos. It is hard to know, because I know I've put on a lot of muscle in the last 2 years. So I'm going off.
You also want to be leaner than what
But I also need to be leaner. So yeah, it's you're never going to know what your exact stage weight is. So we're just going with the facts that we have from previous competition.
Yeah, I mean, basically, you lost a little bit of weight on your diet break while you're on your monthly. I mean, basically, what we calculated based on just physics and math is that you should be on about 1,200 calories. However,
1,200 calories for what?
To lose about 700 grams a week.
So the way that we did that is we looked at my diet break calories, which were around 1854 for my high days, and I still lost on that, as Lane said. So in order to create around a 600 gram weight loss per week, which is what I need to achieve to get to that weight, we worked out that I need about, on paper, a 727 calorie deficit. That's a lot. That would put me at like 1,100 calories every day during those dieting days. Now, we don't think that I need to go quite that aggressive if I am consistent with my training. So let's have a look here. Elaine is just doing some math on the screen. If we start here, my 6 lower days are going to be 160 protein, 100 grams of carbs. I'm already cringing looking at this, but I mean, it's only 10 grams less than what I've been doing in my previous diet weeks, so it's not really that much of a change. And 37 grams of fat. So it's going to be pretty tough, but this weekend we've got the Joe Rogan, so we're flying out on Thursday, so we're going to have a lot going on, and I actually find that I'm better when I'm really busy and I have a lot of stuff to do. So yeah, I reckon I should be fine. It's more about like finding a gym, having like the ability to get around once we get to California, and just being able to make good choices. So the one high day, which I will probably use when we're away, because we're going to be eating out at one of those meals, would be a whopping 125 carbohydrate and 42 fat. So that's my one day to look forward to, and you can bet your bottom dollar I'm going to plan out every single meal on that day so that it's exactly what I want.
Yeah. Fortunately, we've got we'll have to get Icon meals delivered to the hotel, and
so we don't have cooking facilities in our hotel room, so it's going to be one of those situations where I'm probably going to get in. Hopefully, we have a mini bar fridge at the very least.
I think we will.
And then I'll grab some like fat-free Greek yogurt. It's usually like the first thing I'll get. probably some little sachets of protein powder. Greek yogurt on its own is actually quite high in protein, so technically I can just add some sweetener to that, and that can be a quick snack. And then I'll probably grab like some.
Or if you're late, you can just have it for dinner.
Or if you're late, you'll eat it 5 times a day. What else would I get? I would probably get like
usually get some kind of jerky or something that's you know,
just plain protein jerky, or lunch meats, and then salads, protein bars, but they're still going to be pretty high in fat.
They're pretty calorically dense, actually.
Yeah, like most of the One bars, Premier Protein bars, and Quest are all averaging around 8 and 9 grams per bar. So for me, with 37 grams of fat to play with, that's taking up a third of my day's intake almost. So yeah, that's probably going to be my last resort.
Yeah, but then that's you know, we talk about, you know, flexible dieting and whatnot, but you get less flexible the further you get into prep and you lower your calories. I mean, there's not a whole lot of room for flexibility with 100 grams of carbs and 37 grams of fat.
No.
I mean, there's not going to be any alcohol. There's not going to be. I mean, it's basically going to be salads and then maybe like one carbohydrate.
I will be having like one carb meal that I enjoy, and the rest will just be incidental. So like when I have Greek yogurt, for example, there's around 10 grams of carbs just coming from that in a big serve. So yeah, everything else that I choose, it's just going to be scattered carbs because it's a secondary macro in that particular food choice. So
we're down to the nitty gritty.
We really are. I reckon on that high day, I'm probably going to allow myself a glass of wine, because 150 calories is a pretty nice red, and that's about 27 grams of carbs. So I think I can probably swing a glass while we're away. Babe, what do you reckon?
You can, yeah. But that's, you know, the trade-out for that is that liquids are not typically very satiating. So you know, you have a liquid that's taking up 150 calories of your allotment. And so, but it's not going to be very satiating. But if that's something that you really like,
no, I think I would look forward to that. So what I would do in that situation is I make sure I train in the mornings, and I usually go in fasted anyway. So I'll get my weights done. I'll have a protein meal after that. I'd probably have a protein only lunch with a big salad, maybe one protein only snack in the afternoon with, like, you know, a tiny little bit of extra carb in there. And then dinner would be the meal that I would focus on to kind of make everything work. So quickly, let's just have a look at my compliance last week, so you can see kind of what happened. So if we look here, starting on, where are we? Is that the right date? Let me make this column just a little bit bigger so you guys can see that. Make that even. 18th.
So you didn't weigh in those 2 days because you felt like, in your words, a hippopotamus.
Yeah, I didn't want to mentally mess with myself here. So
that's when you started getting PMS symptoms.
Yeah, I was starting to get my premenstruals on those 2 days, which was no fun. So if you look at my calories from my first high day, 1952, my target was meant to be 1854. So I went a little bit high there, and that was because of my protein choices. We traveled that day too, so food options were really tough in airports. Damn airports. Everything is like, I swear they must just add a little squirt of oil into like the apples at the airport.
The apples?
Yeah, I
swear. An apple at the airport?
If you looked at the macro label of like sliced apple, I swear there'd be fat in there. Okay. They just like to load everything. So I did really well for those 4 days, and then back on my low days from Sunday, Monday, and then Tuesday. Yeah. If we slide across, you can see my compliance to my calories on my low days. I was a little over. I was 104%. And then if we look at my calories compliance on my high days, I was right on 99.5. So pretty good. Protein's never an issue for me. I'm usually always hitting that one pretty accurately. And then overall, if we balance out those calories for the week, I'm at 101. So I went over just a touch. So it's really positive to see that despite going over a little bit and having my period, my weight average still dropped. So we could have been a little bit more aggressive, I think, with my targets last week, but it's like How much do you want to play with
No, but I mean,
your mind?
I don't think we need to get more aggressive, and I actually don't think we really need to get more aggressive this week. However,
No, I was referring to my high day, my diet break. I could
Oh, your
have
diet
gone
break.
higher
Yeah,
because I lost
yeah,
weight.
yeah.
The goal of a diet break is not to lose weight; it's
Right.
to maintain your weight.
But that's okay. You seem like you feel. I mean, you're a little bit more refreshed.
Yeah.
But in like 2 or 3 days, you'll probably be a zombie.
Yeah.
I'll be like,
That's alright. I'll be on a plane.
"Hi, Mr. Rogan. This is my zombie girlfriend.
So this week for training,
Don't let her eat your brains."
I'll be doing 5 weights as per normal. Nothing changes there. 60 minutes on the Stairmaster. 90 minutes of walking and 90 minutes of HIIT. So I have got or started to introduce a lot of cardio. I don't feel like we probably need to make any changes to that this week. Maybe next week if I'm struggling to move.
Yeah, you're getting close to the bottom of your calories. So if you're having some problems, we're gonna have to increase the cardio.
And I can easily increase my training. It's just that I work so much that it's like, okay,
Yeah,
do I want to
take it away from what you do?
Yeah, I just have to focus on me for a bit instead of my lovely clients who I love working with. I don't want to give you guys up. So that is about all for this week. We're just going to go through now and answer all of your questions from last week. And I know there are a lot of you, so let's check the questions. There are like 37 comments on this video, so we're not going to have time to answer all 37. So we'll go through and pick out a couple. The first question here is from Christine Vansum. She says, reverse dieting or try and get out of much cardio and low food. Is it better to decrease cardio and keep my food the same? Or should I drop or increase food and keep my cardio up?
So there's actually some research looking at this, talking about being on the end of a diet and then transitioning.
I know who you're talking about.
That actually, if it probably is a little bit better, even with the same relative energy gap, to
exercise,
eat more, move more.
Yes.
So that maintenance level of exercise seems to help prevent any possible fat cell hyperplasia or increase in fat cell number, even irregardless of the energy gap that's being created. So I would say first, as you're coming out of that diet time, increase your intake first, maintain your exercise output, and then once you've gone a few weeks and have gotten your intake up a little more reasonable, then start to curtail your exercise.
Okay, so second question is from Beth Howard. She has asked, is there any specific reason why you do the Stairmaster as opposed to, say, the treadmill or the elliptical? I'm wondering if that is a personal preference or something that's more scientific. Thanks for sharing your guide and your journey. You're welcome. No, that is just personal preference. I guess where I train at the moment, there aren't like a heap of boot camps available or group fitness classes, and I just like, if I'm doing that kind of training, I love being around people. I love the energy of those type of classes, and I just don't have access to them. So for me, it is something that gets my heart rate up, and I can kind of control the level of difficulty by changing the steps per minute. I can also hold on, and I have a little bit of a strategy at the moment where I'm doing 30 minutes on the Stairmaster in blocks or 2 blocks. So for the first 10 minutes, I will walk with my hands on, then I take my hands off for the next 10 minutes, so that's harder, I can feel my heart rate going up. And then the last 10 minutes, I'm doing double steps, no hands. So there's still room for me to continue to make that more difficult as I progress, or as I need to burn more calories by doing the whole thing, taking big double steps and no hands. So yeah, it's tough, and then you can increase the speed too. So that's just a personal preference.
The other thing with that is it's something that she hasn't been doing, and there's evidence that part of the metabolic adaptation to exercise, because you actually become, as you do something, you become more efficient. And so as you become more efficient, you actually burn less calories doing the same exercise.
Yeah, so we see this in long distance runners and marathon runners, triathletes. The amount of calories that can sustain their body weight based on the amount of exercise they do is crazy.
It's pretty low.
And that's that adaptive mechanism. So I hadn't done any Stairmaster for, I'm going to say, at least 12 months. So when I chose to do that deliberately, because it's something that I'm not adapted to, and I knew it would get my metabolism working.
So essentially you have, there's a lot of inefficiencies in your movement because you're not very skilled at it. And so as she progresses, we may actually need to change the modality of her cardio, because she's going to get more skilled at it. She's going to get more efficient with it, and it's not going to produce the same response. So It may actually be a case where we have to switch it up at some point, but she's still not skilled enough at it yet to where we think we need to get there. So.
Okay. Final question I think we'll take from this, the last week's post is from Kelly Nare Rogue. Hopefully I've pronounced that correctly. She says, consecutive refeeds during prep. How, when, and how many?
Would you like a thesis?
Well, the research tends to suggest that anything greater than 3 days seems to provide those benefits to your metabolism. So if you do anything less than that, you're starting to increase the risk of loss of lean body mass and decreases the resting metabolic rate.
It's more nuanced than that, in my opinion.
It's not so definitive.
Yeah, but it seems like if we're talking about eating at maintenance, that you need at least 3 days of that.
Right.
But it depends on your situation. Like this is you guys have got to understand, you can't think about this stuff in black and white. It is so dependent on the individual. It does seem like a few more days consecutively seems to be better, but we don't know for sure. We do know that it seems like isolated days of overfeeding do not produce long-term differences in metabolic rate or fat loss efficiency. So it seems like more days is at a little bit lower surplus or maintenance is a little bit better, but this is still a very inexact science and we don't know what's best yet. So part of it is experimenting and seeing what works best for you and your situation. And I realize that's a very general answer, but this is part of why coaching there's science to it, but it's also an art form and just paying attention to your clients. The
second part of Kelly's question is fasted cardio for muscle loss?
Does that cause muscle loss? She likes to lift weights in the morning and do her cardio at night, but since everybody does fasted cardio, she doesn't know if she should do fasted cardio too. So first off, if you want to fit in with everybody else, also eat just tilapia and wear a hoodie when you do your cardio because everybody apparently does that as well. Which, by the way, if anything, wearing a hoodie actually would decrease the amount of fat you burn because your body thermoregulation would require you to create less thermogenesis. So if you're in a warm climate, stop wearing a fucking hoodie because it doesn't actually make any difference. Now, that being said, fasted cardio, is it going to cause muscle loss? Maybe a small amount. It doesn't seem that short amount of fasting are going to cause muscle loss. I prefer to look at that as I want to maintain every ounce of lean body mass I possibly can, so I don't recommend fasted cardio, and it is definitely not superior for fat loss. There have been several studies looking at this. Yeah. It's not superior.
I think
however, in Holly's case, I'm gonna leave it with you. Yeah. In Holly's case, she does much better when she trains fasted. She hates having something on her stomach. She's weird. I don't understand it. Women, it's all about how they feel. And
no,
they
it's
don't
all
like
about GI, actually.
Apparently. I like to feel fully fueled up. She feels good going in fasted. That actually is part of adherence and sustainability for her, so that's better for her. But she's not doing it because she thinks it causes more fat loss, because it doesn't.
No, that's where I was going to finish that sentence. There is some research though about the exercise that you do second is always going to be a little less productive in that sense. So,
yes, you need to focus on what your goal is.
Yeah, so if your goal is to be the best long distance runner, and you're also trying to incorporate weight training into your program because you like to have a good physique and muscular, if you did your weights training first and then you came back and did your training for your long distance running at the end of the day, there is good research to suggest that that particular session is going to be compromised. It's not going to be as good as you getting in and doing that first.
Yes, so
so
prioritize your priority.
Yes.
If you're a physique competitor, typically that means lifting weights. So we'd recommend lifting weights first.
And then do your cardio after.
Or separate them. So if you're going to do cardio in the morning, do weights in the afternoon, or vice versa.
Yeah. Okay guys, we'll leave it at that. Again, if you have questions and your question perhaps wasn't answered this week, post it again on this video because we will go through and pick out some questions. So yeah, keep the comments coming. We love your support. Please subscribe to our channels if you're not already. Biolane, your channel is just Biolane. Yeah, subscribe to him if you're not already. And thank you very much for watching.
Next time, guys.